Well, school is set to return in the coming weeks across the country, but a recent survey has raised concerns about the increasing pressure hitting family budgets when it comes to back to school essentials. Topping the concerns are the costs of digital tools like laptops, reliable internet access, with 43% of families calling digital tools a major burden. Joining me now is child and adolescent psychologist and Sky News contributor Clare Rowe. Clare, thanks for joining me. Education is increasingly online now, but what does this research tell us and how much more pressure is it putting on families?
Yeah, well, it's huge. I mean, it's becoming this digital divide, isn't it? We've got kind of 40% of parents saying like they can't afford, with the cost of living and off the back of Christmas, to supply a laptop or computer to their children. And this is the day and age where now that's not a luxury, that is a necessity. We're talking about basics like, reliable internet access and things that are going to ensure that kids have, can fully participate in their schooling. I will say, though, firsthand, I've witnessed some of the pressures on parents, and I do think sometimes these digital devices are brought in really early. That we're talking like 9-year-olds who have a bring your own device days at school. And it's supposed to be, I see kind of, public education kids who are then showing off their latest and greatest tablet to each other. And yet there's a whole bunch of kids there whose parents can't compete with that. So I'm not sure why they need tablets in grade 3 when, the results of our spelling, our reading, our handwriting are absolutely going through the floor. But I do appreciate once we get a bit older into high school, these are basics and parents are really struggling to afford them. There's a lot of pressure on families at the moment.
No, there certainly isn't. You're right. I don't know why anybody at that age would need a tablet. That's just ridiculous. Now, speaking about our education system, the Business Council of Australia has raised alarm bells claiming that this country will lack workers in critical industries unless we boost our lagging education standards. Australia is currently on a downward trajectory in international OECD rankings for reading, maths and science. Clare, why are we so behind and how worried should we be about the impact that this could have indeed on the future?
Well, we've been on a decline with our education results over the last 10 to 15 years now. And I think it's a crisis. I think it's alarming. We used to be, Australia, one of the top performers in reading, in maths, in science. And if we want to see ourselves as a leader in areas like AI, in industry going forward, we've got to fix this problem. I think there will be a bit of a swing back in the next few years. 2025 is a year for recalibration on a lot of things. And what we need to do is have a return to teacher-led learning. I think there'll be people watching this tonight who think, well, aren't we doing that? No, we've very much gone to student-led learning and collaborative practice, and we need to go back to explicit rote learning, desks in rows, and go back to what was working because it wasn't broken. And somehow we thought we had to get in there and change it and fix it, and the results have spoken for themselves.
Absolutely. Well, we're really almost out of time, but over in the US, Donald Trump's made a range of changes, particularly when it comes to eliminating DEI from government departments, including education. Clare, should we do it here?
Yeah, well, I think we've seen diversity, equity, inclusion. They've just become integral, haven't they? And I think they've lost their initial meaning and their initial really well-intentioned efforts to provide equality platforms to disadvantaged people. It's actually weirdly swung the other way now, where it's actually stifling dialogue and fostering division. So like most things, it's gone too far. And yeah, bring it on, sweep it out.
Bring it on. I completely agree. It's a whole new world under Donald Trump. Clare Rowe, good to see you. Thanks very much for joining me on the show this evening.